Hi folks, another oil painting. I'm trying to get some of you interested in this medium. It can be a bit messy, a bit smelly, but it is absolutely a wonderful thing to use. I'm filming this on my new webcam, my Logitech C90 webcam, 920 webcam, should I say. I hope the sound is okay. I've turned it up as best I can, and I've gone to the highest resolution, so I hope we get some good feedback on it. Right, so a bit of greaseproof paper on my board here. It's all sort of loose. It's like a table that I've put on top of my box easel. There we go. And I put a couple of slots in the board there so that it doesn't tip. And I've got some walnut alkyd oil mixed with some ordinary supermarket brand walnut oil. The alkyd helps everything to dry, which is good, but it gives a lovely spreadability of the paint. Not quite like flow medium, but more or less. So the paints I've got, these are all Winton colours apart from these two. I've got yellow, cadmium yellow, Griffin white, that's Winsor & Newton, Winsor & Newton, Griffin light red, ultramarine Winton, and black Winton. So 3 colours plus the black. I want a nice blue grey on the background. I want to do a sort of a meadow scene with some blue trees in the distance, but with a big sky, trying to make it interesting is really trying to make a meadow, a huge expanse of grass, rough grass, marsh grass. Interesting. It's quite a challenge. I'm going to move the webcam up to my board now. Bear with me. There we are. Okay. So you can see my bookcase beyond, and loads of spare brushes, old brushes, and loads of oil paints in that sort of cabinet. Right, don't need to know any more than that. I'll just start. So brushes, these are Pro Art varnish brushes, 1 inch long flats. These are inch brushes, inch flats. This is a worn out old brush for doing my trees and things. So I'm going to mix up some oil and a bit of ultramarine and some black and a bit of blue, but I don't want to sully the white, so I'm going to make another little pile of that there. Keep your brushes or your knives clean, otherwise the paint will harden on them, then you'll have to use a craft knife to scrape it all off again. Right, so we'll go in with that blue. Plenty of oil, so we'll just put in some over down here with big sky. Big eye going across there. Just roughing it. Don't even think about trying to do a finished painting from the start. You'll find that the paint dries slowly, and you can work over it. Right. Okay. So we'll put that brush aside. It's a beautiful day in London today. The royal wedding. I dare say I shall have to watch some of it. Right. Let's go into a sky. So white, yellow, red. I just love skies. Just get the paint on. You can thicken it up as we go. The Griffin is quite artist quality. It's a lovely paint to use in that it does help everything else dries. Same as the white, mixed with the alkyd. Well, this will be dry by tomorrow. Let's get some nice light. I was looking at one of my meadow scenes yesterday on Facebook, and Wanda McDonald did a wonderful copy of what I'd done, and hers was better than mine. And she made such a lovely job of it, but I was quite envious. But I don't mind you copying my work. I'm quite happy that you do so, provided you don't put my signature on it. There's a hair there. Oh, that would be behind a frame if it ever sees the light of day. I did one painting yesterday trying to sort out this webcam, and I did that on Patreon, so if you want to see it you'll have to contribute to the channel. I'm doing more on Patreon these days because YouTube money is rubbish, so I'll be worth the effort. Okay, that's a good roughing. Now let's get in some meadow. A bit of green. You can use the black for making your lovely greens. I'll put some trees on there. Dip in the muck. I think it's good practice to try to use just 3 or 4 colours, three primaries anyway, and it's your choice of primaries which makes a difference. Let's have a look at this black and yellow. Load of oil. Look at that, see? That lovely green with black. You know, I prefer to mix my greens, same in watercolour and acrylic. But you can use whatever colours you like, whatever you're happy with. Literally, you can mix a bit of red with it. You know, get a bit of darker tone. And all the while we will be building up an impasto. I haven't put any gesso on this. There's a bit of MDF, just 2mm MDF rubbed down on one side, roughed up to give a bit of tooth, and I put 2 coats of PVA diluted varnish, or PVA glue on it. Go back to the sky. I'm not using any solvent on the brushes to clean during. I'm just squeezing them out on a piece of rag. Then you don't breathe it in. It's some of it can be very toxic. Okay, so we'll start to, let's put a bit of mauvey stuff in the sky. Bit of sort of a cloud colour. It's all a bit wet at the moment, but that's fine. This is why you work on different areas. You go from the sky to the landscape to the background, so that it gives other bits of it a chance to sort of dry off. Look, different mauves for your clouds, you're warming your clouds. Always thinking of light to dark or dark to light. There are no, when you're painting alla prima like this, there are no rules. You can paint thick over thin, thin over thick. It doesn't make any difference, it will dry. But it's when you let a painting dry, where you've got thick paint, it forms a skin as it dries. And if you go over it with a thin paint, the thin paint will eventually crack, and you see that in the old masters. They didn't know about things like that. Something there. I'm going to make a cup of tea soon. I mean, with this camera I can stop it and edit it all in Windows Movie Maker at the end. I'm not sure how else to do it, so if anybody's got any ideas of how you can make a continuous video but pause in between here and there to make cups of tea, answer the phone, etc., my wife sort of shouted up the stairs, lucky I wasn't filming. You're not supposed to put dirty plates in the dishwasher when it's clean, when it's full up with clean stuff from the night before. This is what I did. Thought I'd share that with you. Right, okay, let's go back to the oil, yellow and white and red. Sorry if my head's in the way there. I've got to get used to that. My head looks bad because I've had myself a rather severe haircut. Because when you haven't got much hair, it's silly when you let it go long, straggly. You have to comb it. And it looks like you're combing over, and I don't like that myself. Okay, so it's looking okay. What's it like on the screen? I hope that is looking a bit high definition. It's supposed to be. Right, I'm going to do quite a bit on that background. I want to, let's put in some greeny trees on there. See, that black is such a lovely colour. Don't use it neat. You have to mix it, but it just gives these. I was sort of thinking about this in bed, about the blue trees giving distance. But we want just to sort of put the meadow quite high there and blend a bit. Give the brush a good clean. It's probably too blue what I want, but that's okay. Trying to make an attractive picture from just through sky, distance and meadow. Children playing in the garden. Or gardens. Yeah, they want that will be much smaller when I finish with that. It's just enjoying the process of painting, and never quit. We never get as good as we want to be, and there'll always be people better than us. Whatever you do, we just do what we can. It's our own expression of what attracts us to a landscape. I don't put lots of buildings in. I did have a year painting Venice scenes for a gallery. Sadly, there's no more. And it was a sort of very lucrative deal at the time. But I painted them because there was a market for them. It's the only reason. Sold my soul. But here I'm painting what I want to paint and hope you like it as well. Just start putting some lighter colour on the horizon now. It's a bit of stipple. Oh, someone's fallen over. I will start to gesso some of these boards. just to give a bit of bulk underneath the paint, make it look as if there's a lot of paint on the board when there isn't. Okay. Right, I'm going to go and have a little cup of tea now, or I'll bring it back. So I'll stop the video. This is all trial. Alright, back we go. I've got a cup of tea. I've just looked at the first bit of the video and it seems to be okay. It's quite, the resolution's pretty good on my laptop. This looks fuzzy because it is fuzzy. It's out of focus because it's just being blended. We haven't got into the heavy stuff yet. So nice cup of tea. A good job of English Yorkshire tea. Right. So let's go back onto this area here. See how that yellow is brilliant. I mean brilliant in brilliance. It looks really good. What we're not going to get are the ochres, but that's okay. We're making a painting here. Right, let's go back and get some of that background, that grey blue, a bit more black, but more grey. See that? Okay, clean. Really lovely piece of a Saturday morning. I think lots of people glued to their televisions because they're going to make a day of watching the wedding, the royal wedding. I shall watch it, some of it. But then after that we've got the English Cup final, the football cup final. I shall look forward to that as well. I shall be sitting in my garden with a small television under a shade, cooking, enjoying myself. Right, let's go back with that yellow green and just look. You can get the impression of grass, but by tamping with the edge of the brush, but especially if you've got a brush like this. This is an old Chinese brush, but these are all Chinese brushes, most of them. When they actually had some bristles in them, they don't seem to be anywhere near as good as they used to be. But that one's worn out. Don't clean your brushes with white spirit. Use paraffin if you want to get the bristles lovely and soft. Paraffin is an oil, or kerosene, and this has gone all brittle because I used white spirit to clean. Now I just clean them in Swarfiga and then follow up with a nice wash with dish washer liquid. But that one is a great brush for stippling and all sorts of things. Another good oil to use is fast drying linseed oil. Oops, sorry, I don't want you to see my head. No. We can blend, get the horizon you want. You can add a bit of orangey stuff to it, not a bit of red, although you can't see me mixing now. I just have to explain. I can't. I showed the watercolour yesterday. That was okay. I could zoom out, but the picture would be too small of what I'm painting, just so that you can see the mixing. But there's some things you have to learn yourself by actually doing it and finding your own way. That's what I want, the light, warm light on that horizon. even warmer and lighter than that. Put more red in. I don't want to take the painting up too high or the horizon up any higher than that, really. And I've got to do something about that side, must be different from the other side. Otherwise it looks just repeating yourself and that looks bad. Oops. So the use of the Griffin white helps it all dry that much quicker, so you can carry on, you know, rather than waiting for things to dry. And it's good for merging things, softening. Okay, and we want a bit of shadowy colour in here. Some blue and red, and a bit of white, a bit of oil, so we can get some shadow areas. So if without the shadows you don't get the light. Well, different colours. It's quite amazing the amount of colour, different colours you can get, especially with the use of black with the green. So really it's a 4-colour picture, but we'll just keep working at it until you get something that you like. That looks, I've used a bit of that black blue in here. Right, okay, in the brush. Not happy with that colour there, the blue. I don't think that's very realistic. But by the time I've brought the sky down a bit, when it's dried off a bit, so let's just go to some neater paint. Well, that gives a nice little bit of a misty blue, doesn't it? Oh, that's interesting. Painting is infinite, as you've discovered. There's no end to ingenuity or happy accidents. So if something happens to your painting, it takes you off in a different direction that you didn't anticipate. But I'm not copying anything, I'm working from memory here. Just trying to create a pleasing effect. Tea. Oh, I do love tea. Oh. I want to get some darker cloud colour now. But I think it was Turner said, make your clouds of silver, not of lead. It's streaky because it's oily, but just build up colours. I can feel it drying a little bit. It's dragging on the brush a little bit now. So the clouds, take them off of the off stage. Otherwise, it looks as if you're just filling in. It's like two trees of the same, with a space, with a blue sky behind, and then a cloud, two clouds or three clouds, not one going behind the trees. You don't realise you do it sometimes, but you do. You don't mean to, but you get your concentration. You can't always see literally the wood for the trees. Now I've got some local colour in the sky there, which I don't want. Well, let's just work on that foreground now. Subtle bit of white in there. I might even put a bit of a pond in. Depends, for a pond to look like a pond, you've either got to make it darker than the surroundings or lighter. It's just poking in there. There's something's happening. I like this peachy colour, so we're going to go for more of that. Let's get rid of that green tint. Oh, look at that, it's soft. I like mixing a bit of red with my trees, with the greens. They look warm. No, they're not very realistic, are they? Trying to get them different. I'm using the sky brush for the dark green now. Some lovely meadows around near Rye. And on the Sussex coast, is it Sussex? Maybe Sussex. Kent coast. Kent, yeah, right. From Folkestone going southeast along the coast is very lovely. I'm thinking of Dymchurch, behind the sea wall, the land, all the marsh grass that's grazed by sheep. It's just breathtakingly beautiful. But then I do like the lovely soft flat landscape. Went to Folkes several weeks ago with friends, just for the day. Just fancied a drive down there, and it's Folkestone is really trying very hard to improve its image. It's lost all the ferries. They've gone 5 miles up the coast from Dover. Everything goes from Dover now to Boulogne. We love Boulogne. We used to do day trips on the Fast Cat, and they were lovely. When we were camping in our camping trailers in the Warren. Some of you might know of it. There's a green in there, flowers dotted about. That green's a bit too blue, so we're going to, that's the colour that I'm trying to aim for, so a bit of oil. Got a wasp in it. To come back to retribution, I destroyed a wasp's nest under the eaves last year. I got a few stings for my trouble, but it was worth it. Well, it can be a bit of a nuisance in your house. Just a really light green. That must be much lighter on that horizon there. I'm trying not to take it up any higher. But let's get some dark, shadowy stuff in now. You want your greater contrast in the foreground, of course. And then you can build up over the top of it when it dries a bit. They do get in the way, these things, but got to be done. It's all about contrast, light against dark. There is a bit of black in this, bit of a shortcut. Let's get some bluer, darker stuff in there. Sort of a mauvey colour. Trying to show the undulations in the grass, in the flat grass. Now this that peachy colour, a lot of that is from the colour of the board itself. You don't need to colour the board, it's a nice shade of mid-tone. Alright, a small flat. To do something with these bits of tree. I'm a bit mad with that red, didn't I? Bit sticky. A couple of weeks ago we were coming back from Bexhill, where motor racing started. And on the coast, Hastings television, John Logie Baird, who lived in Bexhill, I believe. But Hastings is only 5 miles away from Bexhill. We go for the May bank holiday. With friends, they live in Bexhill, and we go 2 or 3 times a year. Stay with them, have a lovely time. Boozy. We came back through the Ashdown Forest. It's lovely. Well, once it was a forest, but all the trees got used for building sheds. I'm going to work in some blues in this. That's going uphill there, so we have to do something about that. Come back down. A bit more dark. It's quite thick paint now. We're trying to make this look beautiful. It's quite a challenge. A lot more work to do in the sky yet. What I might do is to have a break and just advance it a bit, otherwise the video will be too long. Right, let's get a bit of that blue now. Clean the brush, get that good clean. Blue and grey. Some of that in between. And change just a little bit behind. Right, still not dark enough, that green. A bit of oil on it. And these two just dry a little bit. Put in the darks in because I want to put some light catching the leaves. A bit of red in there. That's a good dark. Okay, now we can go somewhere else now. We can work on the sky a bit. As that sort of gets a bit tacky in, we can do more work in here. At this stage, so you go through stages with painting. It starts off well, and then as you develop it, it starts to go away from you, and you lose your way and get a bit depressed. Happens to us all. But then you keep working with it, working on it, changing, following a pattern that is developing, and it comes back. So let's go back into the sky and start to work some of this here now, the cloud, or the sky behind. Blend a bit. Got a bit of colour in here. A bit more peachy. Keep away from the trees. Alright. Just softening around there, bringing the sky into those blue trees, and the blue trees into the sky, so you get that lovely distance. Same there, that little bit of blue poking through. Alright, let that go. Let's go back to a bit of landscape now. I'll use that sky brush. It's okay because you can really squeeze the paint off the bristles. Look. I'll give your hands a good wash afterwards. If anybody thinks that meadows are easy because there aren't any houses or windmills or anything in it, think again. You're trying to make something interesting out of some sort of flimsy components. See, with those darks in there, the lights will look lighter. I was looking at a painting that Cheryl picked out, Cheryl Davis, he's commented on. It was one I did from a photograph of David Thornber a couple of years ago in acrylic, and I looked at that and I thought, God, 3 hours that took. I did it in 2 parts, but it's too long for me, really. Even this is getting a bit long. But I think if you do them in 2 parts, it's okay, but people can still wind forward. Right, get some nice real light. Warm colours in the foreground. Just oil it up a bit. Right, some light greens. I like the reddy blue in here. Just some stuff in the foreground here. Sort of thistle type things. I hope you haven't nodded off. I'm using a bit of oil in this, back in this now. A great meadow painter is an artist called David Dipnall from Hampshire. Paints around the Meon Valley. Wonderful artist, creates great atmosphere in his landscapes. He doesn't seem to paint houses either, but he's a fantastic sky painter. Well, he's a fantastic landscape painter, full stop. Another great artist, landscape painter, is James Michael Smith. Tremendous, very detailed. Let's put in some puddles, shall we? Reflecting the sky. Might be easier said than done, but indicated. Just in the landscape. Right, it's brightening up in this foreground, doesn't it? So the faintest green, touch of black, a lot of yellow. Give the brush a real good clean. Bit of white. A lot of white. Do a bit of landscape. I might have a break. Right, I'll have a break now, I think. So I'll see you later. I've moved it on a little bit, done a bit more softening in the sky, put a bit of this lighter landscape in the meadow, added these bits of indication or hint of water. Now what I want to do now, find a brush in the melee, is to put some little couple of figures in. I can't do much more to it than that now, I don't think, so I'm going to carefully put in some little figures. I need some oil, mix up a nice sloppy mix. Oh, we can have a bit more colour in there. Put a bit of red. A bit of red on the horizon that doesn't go awry. Let's put it against that green. It's got to show. Hardly shows really. Not very bright, is it? I'll take that out. I don't like it. Put some dark green back in there. Alright. Probably if I mix it with a bit of white, it would make it a little bit more obvious. bonnet, I think, or a bit of a sun hat. That'll do. That'll do. Not bad, not bad. Just lose it in a bit of that. So it's just a tad too big. Oh dear, I haven't put my apron on. Nearly done for my shorts. Okay, just some little figures going across there. Right, there's not much more I can do with that now. Birds, maybe. Oh, this could be tricky. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put it in a frame, and then we can have a look to see what we've done. I can rest on the frame. Just bear with me when I put a couple of tacks in, just to hold it in the frame, and falling out. These things always look better in a frame. Well, obviously they do. Everything looks better in a frame. I might try and zoom in on this because I don't know. That's not. Right. Don't think that's going to go up anymore. I'll just tilt it on here. Okay, right. So I can probably just rest on here. Oh, something wrong there. I'll have to go over that. No, I don't like that. Right, let's just clean that up a bit. Oh no, that one's just about all right, isn't it? But that one's not, so let's just get rid of him. Just mixing up a bit of colour to match that. Wasn't worth the risk, was it? Right, well I'm going to call that done. I'll have to try to work out a signature for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the demonstration, folks. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.